Good morning, my dear students. How are you all? I hope you are keeping fine and safe in good health of body and mind. Before we get into the class, let me ask some questions to you. Can you tell me which is a faithful animal? Can you tell me which is a faithful animal? It is a dog. Can you tell me what are the uses of the dog? We know the dogs is very faithful animal to the parent, to the householder who is taking care of him. Not only it is faithful to him, even in all the activities. If suppose any thief comes, it protects us. Any unknown people when they enter, it gives us warn to us. By barking, it will be protecting us. It informs us that someone is entering to our house. And whenever any thief comes to steal, it gives alarm by barking. It makes us to awake and alert ourselves. If we see the dog, we can see there are so many good qualities. Even if we beat and if we do whatever we do, but it is always very faithful to us. It never cheats us. Even if you don't give, sometimes get angry and don't give food also, it shows the gratitude. But even the human beings fail sometimes, but the dog is always faithful animal. Let us learn that particular dog, how it is taking care of its own owner. The old couple, there once they lived in Japan, one old couple, they have no children, and that man is a farmer. He goes to his field every day in order to cultivate rice, and along with him this dog also goes and he takes care of his master. Not only that, it protects him and it was very grateful to him. So let us come back and learn what the dog has done to his master and which are the way it made them to grow in their life. Here lesson from the main reader, lesson number 4, the ashes that made trees bloom. The ashes, you know what do you mean by ashes? After cooking with the firewood, that all the fire what is burned, it made changes into ashes. That only ashes. Even for example, after dying of somebody, when we burn them, it burned and finally it became ashes. So that and all we call them ashes. The ashes that made trees bloom. Let us learn how the ashes help the parent tree. Parent tree means the tree has nothing, no leaves, nothing, empty. The tree is filled with the empty, nothing is there. How the ashes made the trees to bloom. Bloom means to produce the new leaves on the flowers. Take a textbook on page number 55. As I read, dear students, kindly follow that one. In the good old days of Diamis, there lived an old couple whose only pet was a little dog. Having no children, they loved it as though it were a baby. The old tale made it a cushion of blue crepe. At mealtime, Muku, for that was its name, would sit on it as snug as any cat. The kind people fed the pet with tidbits of fish from their own chopsticks and all the boiled rice it wandered. Thus treated the dumb creature, loved its protectors like a being with a soul. There, in a good olden days of Dionysus, in the olden days of in Japan, Dionysus means it is the landlords. In the Japan landlords, we call them as a Dionysus. In Japan, there lived a where the landlord people are living. There also lived one old couple. They have one dog, very pet for them. Having no children, they loved. Since they don't have children, they loved this dog very much, like their own baby. They were taking care of him. And we know the dogs cannot speak. It's not like us, it doesn't speak, only they bark. So the old maid doesn't speak, but by the barking it will inform us whatever it wants. So the old dame means the little lady, the old man wife, the old woman. What she did is she made a nice cushion for this dog, and they were calling this dog as a muku, and that cushion was like a snug as cat. Snug means like a very fine bed. So you prepared the fine bed for this dog, and the dog, no, it used to sit on this fine bed and it feels so comfortable like a cat. You know, cat what they does, wherever we go on sleep, even on the bed it comes and in between us it will come and sleep. How the cat feels comfortable, same way the dog was sitting on that cushion, it was feeling so comfortable, and these people were feeding this dog with the pieces of fishes they were giving, and enough and more the rice, whatever it wants they were giving for this, and they were taking care of this dog like their own child with love, care and concern. They were taking care of that one. Cushion means it is a soft bed. Snug means comfortably. And this dog was sitting on the bed comfortably. Next, the old man, being a rice farmer, went daily with a hoe or spade into the field, working hard from morning until Otendo Sama, as the sun is called, had gone down behind the hills. Every day the dog followed him to walk, never once harming the white heron that walked in the footsteps of the old man to pick up the worms. For the old fellow was patient and kind to everything that had life, and often turned up a sword on purpose to give food to the birds. So the old man, being a farmer, what he was doing, he was every day going to his field with a hoe. Hoe means in order to dig the ground, he was going with a hoe or spade. And as he was going, not only he was going, even the farmer was followed by his own dog. The farmer is what he was doing, he was cultivating a rice in his field, and he goes in the morning and he works until evening till the sunset goes behind of the hills. He walks there and come, and in the field the white heron means the water birds, which comes to eat the insects that will be walking on the path of the field where the old man walks and goes into his field. On that path it used to sit in order to eat that white corn. The birds what they coming to eat, they come to eat the insects what is on the paddy field. So this man was very kind to these birds. He never disturbs the bird because he considers, he give the birds as he gives some more important for these birds. He considers they are one of the like a human being. He has love and respect for all the living beings. So he doesn't disturb the birds. He doesn't chase this bird to go away from there. Not only he, even the dog what he was doing, it never disturbed these birds. It never disturbed the birds. It was not chasing them. It also was allowing. Usually, when we see the dog, what they do, when they see the hen or the bird, they will be chasing. But this dog was not chasing anything. It also was allowing these birds to eat. And this man, not only that, this old man, he was a little piece of land he was growing, cultivating rice for these particular birds. He was having so much concern towards the bird. He was little bit place. He left separate for them in order to grow them, in order to the birds to come and eat all the grains, whatever he is growing. A hoe means a tool for loosening earth. A piece of a little bit land he was growing, particular for these birds to come and eat the insect from the paddy field. Next, one day the dog came running to him, putting his paws against his legs and motioning with his head to some spot behind. The old man at first thought his pet was only playing and did not mind it. But the dog kept on whining and running to and fro for some minutes. Then the old man followed the dog a few yards to a place where the animal began a lively scratching. Thinking it was possibly a buried bone or pit of fish, the old man struck his foe in the air when lo, a pile of gold gleamed before him. So what they did, one day as he was working in the field, this dog what it was doing, it was running and coming, and he put the head in between the paws. Paws means the leg of the feet of the dog, and there will be having the nails on the bed. He put in the head in between the feet, and it was scratching the ground, and he was calling his master, and he was with the head, it was motioning, showing some complaining to him, and he was calling, doing this and that, it was playing. And this master thought that it was playing, he didn't mind it. But after some time what happened, since it was keep on going, running here and coming there, going there and coming here, it was doing like that. The master understood, the farmer understood, maybe it wants to something, it maybe wants to show something. He followed the dog. When he followed the dog, and after going there, he with the hoe, he started to dig the earth. He thought when he digged them, this dog was showing with the legs scratching the earth like this. So this man thought, why it is scratching with the hoe, he started to loosen the earth. As he was losing the earth, he thought maybe some dead animals might have buried, some birds or some things might have buried, he thought. With that intention, he was digging, and when he digged, finally he found there was a lot of coins, gold coins were found in that one, and it was shining. When this man digged the earth, he found there was a lot of coins, it was shining. Next, motioning means indicating, showing. Next you see, thus in an hour the old couple were made rich. The good souls bought a piece of land, made a feast for their friends, and gave plentifully to their poor neighbors. As for the dog, they petted him till they really smoothed him with kindness. Now, after taking, he found the gold coins. Because of that, the old couple became very rich. Not only they became rich, what they did, they have brought some of the land with the coins, and they have given feast, celebrated that one. They called all the poor people, neighbors, and they gave them food enough and more for them. And now they became very rich, and they were so much love they are having for the dog. First of all, they were taking the dog like their own child. Now, since the dog helped them to become rich, now they have so much concern towards the dog, and they were loving and taking care of them with kindness and love and concern. Everything, whatever, how we love our child, same way they were loving the dog. Now, in the same village, there lived a wicked old man and his wife, not a bit sensitive and kind, who had always kicked and scolded all dogs whenever any passed their house. In the same village, there were another couple also, old couple where they were living, and they were very wicked people. Not sensitive means they don't have kindness towards any animals. Suppose any dogs are passing in front of their house, what they do? They used to scold them and chase them away. They used to beat them. Hearing of their neighbor's good luck, they coaxed the dog into their garden and set before him bits of fish and other dainties, hoping he would find treasure for them. But the dog, being afraid of the cruel pair, would neither eat nor move. So what they did, when they came to know that this dog was done great for them, they also wants to become a rich. They took the dog forcefully, and they took to the field, and they have given so many of the nice foods, very varieties food. They have given tasty foods, they have given for the dog, and the dog, what they were doing, the dog, it knows the cruel of their heart, because whenever it goes they used to chase him. So seeing the cruel of that one, the dog was not willing to eat or not to move. Why they took this dog and they have given the good food? Because they thought the dog may show that some good treasure for them, that they also become rich. Then they dragged him out of doors, taking a spade and hoe with them. No sooner had the dog caught near a pine tree growing in the garden than he began to paw and scratch the ground as if a mighty treasure lay beneath. So what they did, since the dog was not eating, they pulled the dog, they dragged the dog and went, and they took with them, not only they dragged the dog and went, they took the spade also in order to dig the earth, they took and went, and when they got near to the pine tree growing in the garden, they began to paw and scratch. When they took the dog, when it is reached the garden, there was a pine tree was growing in the garden. In front of the garden, that pine tree, the dog began to scratch the field. It started to scratch the field, and these people were so happy, and they thought they are going to get so much of plenty of treasure, gold coins. To that one, with happiness, they began to hit the ground. Quick, wife, hand me the spade and hoe, cried the greedy old fool as he danced with joy. And immediately he was calling his wife, give me the spade fast. I have to take it. Why? Because they thought they are going to get so much of treasure. The greedy means without working, longing for the things of others. So she was so much greedy, and with the happiness he was doing dance. Then the covetous old fellow with a spade and the old grown with a hoe began to dig, but there was nothing but a dead kitten, the smell of which made them drop their tools and shut their noses. Furious at the dog, the old man kicked and beat him to death, and the old woman finished the work by nearly chopping off his head with a sharp hoe. They then flung him into the hole and heaped the earth over his carcasses. So what they did, the covetous means the greedy man, what he did, since he began to dig the earth. When they dig the earth, they found there was a dead kitten in the earth, and it started to give bird smell. Immediately they put down their spade down, and they started to close their nose like this. As they closed their nose, and they got angry with this dog, and what this old man did, he beat the dog thoroughly till it was dying. After death, what the old woman did, see, with the hoe, with the spade, she made the dog into pieces, and the dead body of this animal, the daddy carcasses means the dead body of the animal. So the body of this dog, what they did, they buried in the hole. Next, the owner of the dog heard of the death of his pet, and mourning for him as if he had been his own child, went at night under the pine tree. He set up some bamboo tubes in the ground, such as are used before tombs, in which he put fresh flowers. Then he laid a cup of water and a tray of food on the grave, and buried several costly sticks of incense. And what he did now, when the owner of the man, the farmer, came to know that his dog was died and he buried, there he went and he was crying bitterly. He was so much sad, because like a child they were taking care of that one. So he was feeling so bad, and he was crying, sitting sadly. What he did, he went to the tomb, he cut some of the bamboo stick, and like a 4 square shape he made arrangement with the stick, with the bamboo stick, and he put some flowers in the tomb of the dog, and he put some food on the plate and everything he kept, and some incense sticks, means the sticks which gives a smell. We keep it in the death house. Once the people die, we put that, we burn it, and we put that incense sticks. He kept everything, and he was sitting and crying. He moaned a great while over his bed, calling him many dear names as if he were alive. And what he was doing, sitting there and crying and calling this dog with a different pet names. Because when we call our children when they are small, we call them with a different different name. In order to eat them, we tell them so many names, utter so many names and make them to eat. Same way as if he is calling his own child with a different name, he was sitting and crying in the tomb. That night, the spirit of the dog appeared to him in a dream and said, "Cut down the pine tree over my grave and make from it a mortar for a rice, pastry and a meal for a bean sauce." And when he was sitting and cried, that night, he was sleeping on the bed. This dog came, the dog spirit came and spoke to him. "There is a pine tree is there on my graveyard. You cut it and make a mortar and the mill." Mortar means to grind your rice and the beans. What do you have to do? You cut that pine tree and make it a mill and the mortar for in order to grind the make the rice into powder and the beans into a powder. So here poverty means it is a greedy people. A bottle to crush something. Next, more. So he asked him to make the what the dog came in the dream and told him to cut the pine tree and make the mortar and the mill in order to grind the powder, rice powder and the beans powder. Next, so the old man chopped down the tree and cut out of the middle of the trunk a section about 2 feet long with great labor, partly by fire, partly by the chisel. He scratched out a hollow place as big as a small bowl. So what he did, as he dreamed he listened to the dream of his dog. Morning he got up and he went and cut the pine trees, and the middle of the pot he cut it into a different parts, small parts he cut it. He cut it with the help of a fire and something he cut with the help of a chisel. The instrument he cut it, and what he did, he made a small bowl according to the instruction given by the dog. He then made a long-handled hammer of wood, such as used for pounding rice. And he also made the hammer, that stick he made hammer. Why? In order to beat that rice, he made the hammer. When the New Year's time drew near, he wished to make some rice pastry. When the rice was all boiled, Granny put it into the mortar. The old man lifted his hammer to pound the mass into dough, and the blows fell heavy on the fast till the pastry was all ready for baking. Suddenly the whole mass turned into a heap of gold coins. When the old woman took the hand mill and filling it with the beans began to grind, the gold dropped like rain. So what he did, the New Year approached, so the man decided to make some rice powder. So the woman boiled the rice and he gave to her husband. He put it in that bowl. He took the hammer and he was keep on beating till it becomes into a powder. As he was beating powder, when the powder was ready, finally they found in order to the powder was ready for making cake. When it was ready, instead of this rice powder, what it happened, it turned into completely gold coins. All this powder, what happened, the rice powder changed into gold coins. Not only that, the old woman, she took the beans and she put it in the mill in order to grind. As she put the beans in the mill and as she was grinding, what happens, that beans also finally change into the golden coins. Meanwhile, the envious neighbor peeped in at the window when the boiled beans were being ground. "Pudimi," cried the old hag as she saw each dripping of sauce, turning into yellow gold until in a few minutes the tub under the mill was full of shining mass of gold. And what happened now? And the envious means this jealous couple, what they were did, neighbors couples, they were through window, they were peeping out. And when this lady, so immediately he called her husband and showing, as was each grind, they kept the powder under that one tub so that the powder may fill it. When we put in the mill, you might have seen the mill. We put it in the mill in the grinds, and after switching and what happened at his grinds, we keep some tub. In that it comes and falls down. Same way he kept the powell, and what happened that the powell was filled with the gold coins. So she was looking all that one, and this old woman had called her husband and she showed that also. So the old couple were rich again. The next day, the stingy and wicked neighbor came and borrowed the mortar and magic mill. They filled one with boiled rice and the other one with beans. Then the old man began to pound and the woman to grind. But at the first blow and turn, the pastry and sauce turned into a full mass of worms. Still more angry at this, they chopped the mill into pieces to use as firewood. And these people, greedy people, what they did? They came and borrowed from this sauce, the mortar and the mill, and they want to also become rich. So they took this one and they put the rice, the old man put the rice in the bowl and he started to beat. As he was beating, and this old lady said, she took this mill and she put the beans grind, and she was pounding. When they were grinding, what happens to you? Instead of becoming powder, there was a bird smell was coming out, and they could see small worms were coming out from that rice and the grain. And now what happened to this one? The old man and the old lady, so much angry, they have become so angry. In that anger, what they did? They broke this fowl and the mill into pieces. They made it into pieces and they want to use this one as a firewood. Why they want to use as a firewood? Because this fowl, the mortar and the mill was made by the pine tree wood. Next. So up to here, once again, I tell you my dear students, what we learned here. There was a old couple, and what they were doing, they were a good couple. He is a farmer, they are having a dog. The dog is a faithful animal, and the farmer was, one day the dog came and called the farmer and he told him there is he showed some place, and the farmer, when he began to dig, he found some of the gold coins and they became rich. And when the people saw this one, when they become rich, they celebrated that one. They brought some land, they gave food for the neighbors, poor people. Not only that, they were sharing everybody. And when the neighbors, jealous neighbor, greedy neighbors came to know they do want to become rich, they went and called this dog and they were giving nice food for the dog, but the dog was not willing to eat. Why? Because the dog knows they were the greedy, and whenever any dogs pass that way, they used to scold that one. Due to that, it was not moving, but forcefully they took the dog to the garden. When the pine tree came near to the pine, the dog began to scratch, and with the spade, when they dig, they found the dead kitten. So they got angry, this greedy couple, they killed the dog and then buried. And this old farmer was so much, when he came to know that this dog was killed, he was so sad. He was sitting and crying in the tomb, and at the night, the dog spirit came and spoke to him in the dream. He told him, go and cut the pine tree which is on my tomb and make it into a mortar and the mill. The farmer listened to this one and he made a mortar and the mill, and they started to grind the rice and the beans. But what happened to this both? It changes into a powder. Instead of changing into powder, it became a gold coins, and they became again rich now. When the neighbors saw this one, they also want to become rich, so they went and borrowed their mortar and the mill, and they too are doing the same thing. But finally, what happened? Instead of becoming the gold coins and this one, there that bird smell came, the worms were coming out. Instead of the gold coins, the worms came out. So they got angry, and what they did, they broke all these into pieces, and they want to use as they were using this one mortar and the bowl for as a firewood they were using. Up to here we learn. Next class we learn the balance. Until then, dear students, please read the lessons.